We often see a very particular narrative painted of Xinjiang, don't we?
We certainly do.
But what if that's just one brushstroke, maybe just part of a much larger picture?
Exactly.
Today, we're diving into a YouTube video. It's from SMG Shanghai TV, and it offers, well, a distinctly different perspective.
That's right. Our source material, it features insights from Professor Zhang Weiwei of Fudan University's China Ha, also researcher Q Wenping from the Shanghai Academy of Social Sciences Institute of Religious Studies.
And others, too.
Yes, and voices from individuals who are, directly involved in Xinjiang's development, people on the ground.
Okay, so our goal today is to really unpack the arguments presented in this video about Xinjiang. We want to explore their take on the accusations of Western interference and try to understand the experiences of those with firsthand knowledge, as presented here.
And it's worth saying, it's no secret that some Western media outlets present a very critical view of Xinjiang.
Absolutely. So this deep dive, it really offers a variable counterpoint, or at least a different viewpoint to consider. Okay, let's start, maybe, by looking at the historical backdrop. Xinjiang, it seems, has been a significant place for a very, very long time.
Oh, absolutely. Its importance as a crossroads, of civilizations, it stretches back over 2 millennia.
2,000 years.
At least. Think about Zhang Qian's expeditions to what they called the Western regions back then, or the epic journey of the Buddhist scholar Xuanzang to India 1,400 years ago.
Right.
These weren't just individual trips. They really underscore Xinjiang's pivotal role. It was a central artery of the ancient Silk Road.
Facilitating trade, ideas.
Exactly. A vital exchange of ideas, goods, cultures, East and West. This long history, this connection and exchange, it's really a key element, to understanding the region's complexity today.
And geographically, it's in a fascinating position, bordering not just 1 or 2 countries, but 8.
8, yeah. Mongolia, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India.
Wow. That's quite a neighborhood. A lot of history packed in there.
Definitely. But it's not just about the location. The video also highlights the incredible cultural richness within Xinjiang.
What kind of things are we talking about?
Well, there's the Mukha music suite, for instance. UNESCO recognized it as a treasure of humanity.
Okay.
And alongside that, vibrant traditional arts. And consider the Kerez irrigation system.
Ah, yes, I read about that. Ancient engineering, right?
Incredible ancient engineering. Imagine roughly 5,000 kilometers of underground canals.
5,000?
Yeah, sometimes they call it an underground Great Wall. It sustained life in this really arid region for centuries.
Amazing.
Then you've got natural wonders like the world's largest poplar forest in Zaire County. Huge ecosystem, about 3,800 square kilometers.
Oh.
And of course, Xinjiang is famous for its high-quality, long-staple cotton, a really significant agricultural product.
So you put it all together. History, culture, geography. It's a unique place.
It really is, a unique blend.
Now, the video we're looking at, it presents some pretty striking claims about Xinjiang today, especially when you contrast them with those more negative portrayals we often hear.
Exactly. It asserts, for one, that Xinjiang has achieved the elimination of extreme poverty.
Eliminated extreme poverty.
Yes, and if that's the case, it's a huge development. The video specifically draws a comparison with ongoing poverty challenges in the United States.
Interesting comparison. What else?
Furthermore, the video highlights that Xinjiang has reportedly experienced 4 consecutive years without violent incidents.
4 years, no violence.
Again, inviting a comparison, this time with the U.S. approach to counterterrorism. So these are significant claims that, if accurate, would represent a really substantial shift in the region.
And then there's tourism. The video mentioned tourism, right? The scale of it.
Oh, yes. Apparently, in 2019, Xinjiang saw around 200 million tourist visits.
200 million.
That's the figure given. A staggering number.
What does that kind of number suggest, if it's accurate?
Well, a figure like 200 million visits, it would certainly suggest a significant level of perceived safety, wouldn't it? An interest in the region.
It definitely stands in stark contrast to descriptions of Xinjiang as a place of, widespread oppression and fear.
It does. The video also points to modern infrastructure development, things like the Lanzhou-Xinjiang high-speed railway that's over 1,700 kilometers long, facilitating travel, connectivity.
Okay, so we have this picture being painted of progress, development, stability. But then The video shifts its focus pretty dramatically, doesn't it, to the narrative coming from the West?
Yes, it does. The video strongly contends that Western nations, the U.S. in particular, along with Western media, are orchestrating a deliberate smear campaign against Xinjiang.
Okay, a smear campaign. What are the core accusations they say are being falsely spread?
Well, the video argues that these entities are falsely portraying Xinjiang as a place of oppression for its ethnic minorities, specifically Uyghurs and Muslims.
How so? What kinds of claims?
They allege the spread of claims involving forced sterilization, forced labor, and depictions of the region as living hell, even comparing it to concentration camps.
Strong language.
Very strong. And the video suggests these aren't just isolated criticisms, but part of a concerted effort to create a negative global perception.
And the video doesn't exactly hold back in its view of these portrayals, does it?
Not at all. It characterizes these depictions as so extreme, so disconnected from reality, that they actually defy basic common sense.
Defy common sense.
That's the argument. That the scale and nature of the alleged abuses are just illogical, unsustainable. And furthermore, the video posits that the underlying motive behind all this, these alleged smear campaigns, is actually to impede China's overall development.
To contain China.
To contain China, hinder its growing influence on the world stage. That's the claim.
So according to this video, what's driving this intense Western focus on Xinjiang? Why Xinjiang specifically? What are the alleged reasons?
Okay, the video identifies 3 types of countries or regions that it claims are frequently targeted by what it calls U.S.-backed color revolutions.
3 types. What are they?
First, major powers seen as potential challengers to U.S. global dominance. They cite China and Russia as examples.
Okay, challengers. Second,
strategically important geopolitical locations. Think Afghanistan, Ukraine, Syria, places that matter geographically.
right, strategic locations. And third,
Nations or regions rich in natural resources. Examples given are Iraq, Libya, Myanmar.
okay, challengers, strategic spots, resource-rich areas. And the video's argument is that Xinjiang fits into all 3.
Precisely. That's the core assertion.
Yeah.
That Xinjiang's unique combination, its significance to China's power, its location bordering multiple nations in a vital region, and its natural resources makes it a prime target in a broader U.S. strategy.
A strategy aimed at what, exactly?
Yeah.
Containing China's rise.
Essentially, yes. The video outlines several alleged U.S. strategic goals related to Xinjiang.
Such as?
Seeking to, funnily, the video uses the term meaning to split apart and thereby weaken China, hinder its overall progress.
Okay, weaken China. Anything else?
It also suggests the U.S. aims to establish a strategic foothold in the region, basically to control access to Central Asia.
Control access.
And finally, the video claims a motive of wanting to plunder Xinjiang's natural resources for U.S. benefit.
So divide, control access, take resources. That's the picture the video paints of the alleged U.S. motives.
That's the argument presented, yes.
Now, to back up these claims, the video brings in statements attributed to former U.S. officials. Let's start with Lawrence Wilkerson. Who is he? And what does the video say about his views?
Okay, Lawrence Wilkerson. He's a former chief of staff to Secretary of State Colin Powell and also a retired Army colonel. The video references a speech he gave in 2018.
2018. Where?
At Rowan Paul College, apparently. The speech was titled America's Imperial Strategy.
America's Imperial Strategy. Okay.
And in this speech, according to the video's interpretation, Wilkerson laid out 3 primary strategic objectives for the U.S. presence in Afghanistan at that time.
Okay. U.S. goals in Afghanistan. What were they, according to this video's take on Wilkerson?
First, to maintain control over Afghanistan as a way to exert military pressure on China because of Afghanistan's strategic geography, bordering China.
I know.
Second, to ensure the security of Pakistan's nuclear arsenal.
Right.
And third, and this is crucial for our discussion, to exploit the Xinjiang issue, to use it as a lever to destabilize China and impede the progress of the Belt and Road Initiative.
So using Xinjiang to destabilize China and hurt the Belt and Road, that's what the video claims Wilkerson said was a U.S. goal?
That's the interpretation presented in the video, yeah.
The video also mentions Wilkerson's connection to the Iraq War lead-up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How is that relevant here?
Yes, it does. It highlights Wilkerson's role in preparing materials for Colin Powell's famous 2003 UN Security Council presentation, the one about Iraq's alleged weapons of mass destruction.
Right, I remember that.
The video notes that Wilkerson later expressed deep regret about his involvement, describing it as a blot on his record and calling the whole WMD presentation a hoax on the American people and the UN.
So the video brings this up. Why? to lend credibility to his later criticisms.
Exactly. The context is provided to suggest that Wilkerson's later criticisms of U.S. foreign policy, like the ones about Afghanistan and Xinjiang, should be taken seriously because of his past insider role and subsequent disillusionment.
Okay, that certainly provides a particular lens, doesn't it? Now, the video also features alleged statements from someone named Sybil Edmonds. Who is she?
Sybil Edmonds is a former FBI translator. The video refers to an interview she gave back in 2015.
2015. And what did she allegedly say?
In this interview, she purportedly admitted that the U.S. had specific plans, specific methods for instigating unrest in Xinjiang.
Instigating unrest. How?
According to the video's account of her interview, Edmonds stated that Xinjiang is a critical energy artery for China.
Energy artery.
And she allegedly claimed the U.S. strategy involves fomenting discord within China, playing on ethnic issues, gender issues, basically falsely propagating narratives of oppression and genocide against Xinjiang's minorities to stir things up.
And the video suggests she compared these tactics to U.S. actions elsewhere.
Yes. Edmonds allegedly drew direct parallels between these tactics and those she claims the U.S. used in Afghanistan, Ukraine, and Iraq.
So, a pattern of interference, she supposedly claimed.
That's the implication. She purportedly predicted that similar elements would be deployed in Xinjiang with the goal of transforming it into a next Taiwan.
A next Taiwan.
Essentially a strategic point of contention, a way to contain China's influence, keep it off balance.
That's a very significant assertion attributed to her. What else does the video claim she revealed?
The video presents Edmonds as admitting, quite frankly, that the U.S. doesn't genuinely care about ordinary people in these regions unless they can be instrumentalized to achieve U.S. foreign policy goals.
That's quite a cynical view presented there.
It is. And furthermore, she allegedly stated that the Chinese narrative on Xinjiang, the one emphasizing development and counterterrorism, is actually closer to the truth than what's reported in Western media.
Closer to the truth than Western media.
Yes, and she apparently specifically criticized the New York Times reporting, claiming it relied heavily on what she called Turkish narratives.
Okay, wow. So these are some pretty explosive claims attributed to Wilkerson and Edmonds in the video. Striking perspectives.
Definitely striking. And the video then touches on the Chinese government's reaction to these kinds of statements.
How did they react?
Well, the video mentions that a spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry actually played excerpts of these statements publicly during press briefings.
Played the clips.
Yes. And it also references an alleged quote from former U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo.
Mike Pompeo.
Where he purportedly spoke about lying, cheating, and stealing as being part of America's glory. The video presents this to highlight what it sees as a pattern of duplicity in U.S. foreign policy.
And they also bring in a Western commentator's view.
Yes. Martin Wolf, a columnist for the Financial Times. The video cites him allegedly describing the U.S. as a lawless, rogue superpower.
Okay, so using these quotes to bolster their argument about U.S. actions.
Precisely. Following this, the video reiterates the argument that the whole Xinjiang issue, as framed by the West, isn't really about the human rights of Uyghurs.
Why do they say that?
They point to the history of U.S. military interventions in Muslim-majority countries after 9/11 as counter-evidence to the idea of genuine concern for Muslims.
Okay. What about the international response, specifically from Muslim countries regarding the Western narrative on Xinjiang?
That's a key point the video emphasizes. It claims that no Muslim-majority countries supported the Western-led anti-China proposals concerning Xinjiang at the UN Human Rights Commission.
None of them.
That's the claim. Presented as evidence that the Western narrative lacks broad international support, especially within the Muslim world itself, the very group whose interests the video suggests the West claims to be championing.
Interesting point. So, what's the overall conclusion of the video regarding these claims of Western interference and the situation in Xinjiang?
Well, the video firmly states that Xinjiang's own efforts in counterterrorism, de-radicalization, coupled with its economic and social development, have earned the support of the people within Xinjiang and across China.
And internationally.
It also claims these efforts have received positive recognition from, let's say, certain segments of the international community. The video basically reiterates that the Western smear campaigns are illogical, they don't add up, and ultimately they damage the credibility of those promoting them.
And the final message.
It concludes pretty assertively, stating that China is fundamentally different from countries like Iraq, Afghanistan, or Syria. And therefore, any attempts to destabilize Xinjiang using these alleged tactics are, in their view, destined to fail.
Okay. This detailed overview of the video's claims about history, Western motives, and counterarguments really sets the stage for hearing from individuals who, according to the video, have first-hand experience in Xinjiang. It includes an interview with Q Wenping from the Shanghai Academy of Social Sciences. What's his background and what perspective does he offer?
Right, Q Wenping, he has quite a unique perspective because he actually grew up in Xinjiang.
Oh, interesting.
And he's also dedicated his academic research to understanding the region. So he shares his personal observation, saying he feels significantly more relaxed and secure in Xinjiang in recent years.
More relaxed now compared to when?
He contrasts it with the atmosphere of fear and the economic disruptions he experienced about 5 years prior due to incidents of violence in the region back then.
So his personal feeling is one of improvement.
Yes, his personal experience, as presented, provides a direct counterpoint to the narrative of ongoing worsening oppression.
Yeah, and he talks about visible changes he's seen, things on the ground.
He does. He describes really substantial social transformations, new buildings going up, modern infrastructure being developed, a flourishing of diverse cultural activities.
And how does he interpret these changes?
He sees them as concrete indicators of Xinjiang's progress towards becoming a Zhaokang society. That's the term for a moderately prosperous society in China.
Okay, Shaoka.
And he connects these developments to Marxist ethnic theory and China's system of ethnic regional autonomy, emphasizing the stated goal of liberating oppressed peoples and the specific support mechanisms for ethnic minority regions.
Like what kind of support?
Things like financial transfers from the central government, targeted poverty alleviation programs. He also mentions the Xinjiang Production and Construction Corps, the XPCC.
Right, the XPCC. They have a long history there.
A very long history, playing a big role in economic development and border security. Q provides this context.
He also uses an analogy, I believe, something about pomegranate seeds.
Yeah. Yes, the 16 pomegranate seeds held tightly together. It's an analogy he uses to illustrate the concept of ethnic unity, drawing on Confucian ideas of harmony.
Interesting. And what about past instability? How does he explain that?
He discusses historical factors, identifying uncleared elements of ethnic separatism and the pervasive influence of religious extremism, which he links in part to issues of poverty and rapid population growth in certain areas.
So separatism, extremism, poverty. Complex factors.
Very complex.
And what approach did he say was taken to address these challenges, particularly after the violence in 2009?
Q explains it as a comprehensive, systematic approach implemented following the July 5th incident. He emphasizes a dual strategy.
Dual strategy.
Focusing on alleviating both material poverty, lack of resources, jobs, and spiritual poverty.
Spiritual poverty. How does he define that?
He references Marx's idea of religion sometimes acting as the opium of the people, stemming from real-world suffering and lack of opportunity. So, addressing the root causes, the despair, that might make people vulnerable to extremism.
Okay. And how is this done practically?
He details significant economic help. Support from 19 different provinces and cities across China poured into Xinjiang, plus substantial financial transfers directly from the central government.
So a big economic push. What about the cultural or ideological side?
Culturally, he highlights the role of vocational training centers. He frames them as countering extremist ideologies that had previously hindered education, especially for women. And alongside that, broader educational initiatives aimed at providing skills, opportunities, and maybe a different outlook.
So the focus seems to be on creating an environment where people feel secure, have opportunities, and maybe less susceptible to extremist ideas.
Precisely. Q argues that restoring public confidence, giving people the ability to pursue a normal, fulfilling life that represents the most fundamental aspect of human rights in this context.
And how is this implemented at the grassroots level? He mentioned the party's role.
Yes, he credits the strong organizational capacity of the Communist Party and its grassroots efforts. He mentions initiatives like Fenghuiju.
Fenghuiju, what's that?
It translates roughly to visiting residents. It involves local cadres regularly visiting residents, building close relationships with families, particularly in southern Xinjiang. The idea is to better understand their needs, their concerns, and address issues related to extremism directly at the community level.
Okay, direct engagement. The video also includes another perspective, right? A cadre from Shanghai who worked in Xinjiang.
Yes, that's right. A cadre from Jing'an district in Shanghai. He worked in Xinjiang for quite a while, from 2013 to 2019.
What was his role?
He served as a vice principal at a vocational training school in Bazhou Prefecture.
So, right in the education system, what was his experience like when he first arrived in 2013?
He recounts that arriving in 2013, which was after some significant violent incidents, the atmosphere was quite tense. There was a palpable sense of vigilance, and security measures were clearly very high.
That sounds challenging. Yet he stayed for 6 years. What motivated him?
He explains that he developed a really strong connection to Xinjiang, a deep affection for the place and its people, and a genuine desire to improve the educational opportunities for the local children. That commitment kept him there.
And did he see changes in education during his time?
Oh, absolutely. He describes a dramatic increase in student enrollment rates in vocational schools.
How dramatic?
He says it went from maybe 20–30% up to 99.9%.
Wow, it's a huge jump. How does he explain that?
He attributes this remarkable growth to several factors: strong party leadership, prioritizing education, setting up party branches within schools at the grassroots level.
Okay.
Also, the implementation of 15 years of free education, financial aid for university students, and just substantial investment in school buildings, resources, infrastructure across the region.
Were there challenges with getting kids to school or keeping them there?
Yes, he mentions targeted efforts to engage with parents, to address perhaps more traditional views on education that might have kept children, especially girls, out of school, and specific measures to prevent students from dropping out.
He also touches on curriculum content, doesn't he? A sensitive issue.
Yes, he does. He addresses the discovery of problematic content in some older Uyghur language history textbooks, content related to ethnic separatism and religious extremism.
And how was that handled?
He discusses the measures taken to rectify this, to revise the textbooks. He emphasizes the fundamental importance of ensuring educational materials promote unity, accurate history, and positive values. He really sees education as a key tool in addressing those deeper societal issues.
Okay, so we have the perspectives of the researcher and the educator. The video also features a female entrepreneur, right, involved in industrial development.
Yes, exactly. An entrepreneur who's been involved since 2010, supporting Xinjiang's industrial growth through counterpart support programs linked with Shanghai.
What kind of business does she run there?
She describes establishing 3 modern factories in southern Xinjiang, specifically in Kashgar and Hotem.
And who works there?
What's notable is that women make up a very significant portion of her workforce. Around 60–70% of her employees are women.
60 to 70% female workforce. Was it easy to recruit women initially?
She admits there were initial challenges. Many women lacked prior formal work experience, and there were maybe differing traditional perspectives about women working outside the home.
So how did they overcome that?
She talks about gradual progress, creating hands-on training, creating a supportive work environment, and just slowly integrating women into the factory setting. She says they've seen growing enthusiasm among women to join the workforce.
And has she observed changes in the lives of her female employees beyond just having a job?
Yes, she really emphasizes a noticeable transformation, not just economically, but in their overall spirit and outlook.
Like what?
Improvements in their Mandarin language skills, for one, which helps integration and communication. Increased self-confidence, a growing sense of empowerment that comes from earning their own income.
Does she give any specific examples?
She shares a success story. A worker who started in a very basic role and, through hard work and training, progressed all the way to a management position. This led to a substantial increase in her income, much better living conditions for her family, and she now has aspirations for her own children to go to university. The entrepreneur presents this as an example of how hard work plus opportunity can create a genuinely better, happier life.
That's a powerful story.
It is. And she also underscores the vital role of that nationwide support system, the 19 provinces and cities helping Xinjiang across various sectors. She contrasts this cooperative model favorably with, say, Western models of development aid.
What specific industries is her business involved in?
Her ventures focus on adding value to local agricultural products, things like freeze-drying fruits, especially those famous Hotan melons.
Melons.
Yes. Also processing nuts like walnuts and producing health foods from things like buckwheat. So it's about extending the industrial chain locally, creating more jobs, and importantly, fostering local talent and management skills.
Okay. So returning to the broader analysis in the video, after presenting these personal stories, it circles back to examining Western motives again.
Yes, it does. It reiterates the contention that Western countries are deliberately overlooking these positive developments happening in Xinjiang, ignoring the progress being described.
And what's the underlying reason they suggest for this alleged ignorance?
The argument presented is that the fundamental logic behind playing the Xinjiang card, as they call it, involves deeper issues. Concerns about resource competition, China's huge population needing resources, and broader geopolitical power struggles. Xinjiang, in this view, is identified as a key strategic flashpoint in this global competition.
And they repeat the idea that the U.S. targets certain types of places.
Exactly. They restate that alleged pattern. The U.S. targets countries or regions that pose a potential challenge, hold geopolitical importance, or possess valuable resources. And in their analysis, Xinjiang fits all three criteria, making it a focus of containment efforts.
The video also included some Q&A with an audience, didn't it? Bringing up some specific concerns and responses.
Yes, it did. Some interesting points came up there.
Let's touch on a couple. One audience member mentioned watching a Xinjiang counterterrorism documentary. They were struck by a young extremist who said he got involved just after watching violent videos online for 3 days.
Right.
The question was, basically, how can you stop Western forces, as they put it, from potentially brainwashing young people in Xinjiang online and inciting new attacks?
That's a tough question. The expert's response emphasized that the overall situation has significantly improved through a multi-pronged approach.
Such as?
Expanding access to education, including boosting Mandarin skills for better communication and integration, instilling fundamental civic values, and, crucially, actively engaging in ongoing ideological work, especially given the challenges of the internet age and how easily information or misinformation spreads online.
So it's an ongoing battle.
Yes. While acknowledging that online radicalization remains a challenge everywhere, the expert expressed confidence in China's overall system and its long-term strategy. He described it as needing cultural integration, a long-term effort, seeing it as the key to addressing these issues sustainably.
Okay. Another question tackled demographics, which is always a complex topic in Xinjiang. The questioner noted the historical role of the XPCC and Han settlers, but also pointed to recent trends. A declining Han birth rate, an aging Han population, compared to what they said was higher growth potential and a younger age structure among ethnic minorities.
Right, the demographic trends.
So the question was about the potential impact of these trends on Xinjiang's future population structure. What was the response?
The expert responded by sort of reframing the issue, highlighting Xinjiang's absolutely pivotal role in the Belt and Road Initiative.
The BRI connection again?
Yes, seeing Xinjiang as this crucial hub connecting China with Central Asia with immense economic potential. In that context, the expert asserted that population dynamics, while existing, are not viewed as a primary concern for the region's future success.
So focus on the economic potential.
That seemed to be the emphasis. He also shared an anecdote about the XPCC's history, going back to the 1950s, crediting them with transforming parts of Xinjiang into prosperous, habitable areas. He mentioned a spirit of dedication he saw in the older generation there, a personal connection.
Okay. One more question from the Q&A. It seemed quite practical. It came from a university student.
Yes.
They asked how Chinese companies and products facing sanctions due to these allegations of forced labor in Xinjiang could be protected using international law and organizations, and how to counter what they termed illegal Western actions through these existing platforms.
The sanctions issue, a very real problem for some businesses.
What was the expert's advice on that?
The expert emphasized China's commitment to the current international system, the one centered around the United Nations, but also highlighted the opportunities within that framework.
Opportunities like what?
Well, exploring the creation of perhaps new international organizations or developing alternative international standards, especially in sectors where China is dominant, like textiles. Given Xinjiang's cotton quality and China's huge market share, maybe they could set new standards.
Interesting idea. Setting their own standards.
He also floated another intriguing idea. Maybe requiring Western companies that operate in Xinjiang to actually register their presence within Xinjiang itself.
What else?
He stressed the importance of Chinese innovation, finding creative solutions, adopting proactive, maybe even revolutionary tactics, as he put it, against what they see as counter-revolutionary moves. Not being too constrained by existing legal frameworks, but thinking outside the box.
Like the Belt and Road funding mechanisms.
Exactly. He pointed to things like the BRI-related funds as existing examples of China promoting its interests through new structures. His concluding thought was interesting, that external pressure, like sanctions, can actually act as a catalyst.
A catalyst for what?
For China to learn, to innovate faster, and to engage more confidently and openly in discussions and debates on these complex issues. Encouraging confidence, basically.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the perspective presented in this SMG Shanghai TV video, what would you say is the absolute core message they're trying to get across about Xinjiang?
I think the overriding message, the one they really hammer home, is that Xinjiang is fundamentally a good place, a place with a promising future, characterized by development, stability, and improving lives for its diverse population, contrary, obviously, to some other narratives you hear.
And the video clearly wants to acknowledge the human effort involved in that narrative of progress.
Oh, absolutely. It really underscores the immense hard work, the dedication, the significant contributions made by all sorts of people in Xinjiang. Local residents, cadres working there, entrepreneurs taking risks, and also those involved in that nationwide counterpart support system we discussed.
And there seems to be a call for maybe more open dialogue, but also more confidence from their side.
Yes, definitely. The video concludes by reiterating a willingness to engage in open, respectful discussions about Xinjiang. But it's coupled with a clear encouragement for listeners, perhaps both inside and outside China, to have confidence in the region's development trajectory and its important role in China's broader future.
Okay. And if our listeners are interested and want to explore this topic further, maybe even find the specific video we've been discussing today, where can they look?
As always, we encourage you to visit our show's social media platforms and our website. We'll have links there to the source material discussed in this deep dive, where possible, and also pointers to additional resources and ongoing discussions related to our explorations of China and its engagement with the world.
Great. And with that, we leave you with a final thought, the show's familiar closing. Let us together position China and uniquely understand the world. This is China, according to Zhang Weiwei.